Blue
Be
finna
advised,
goddamn
UAV is
eat.
bingo fuel. I'm in
Blue
the
you hear them sweat sounds when you hear do do. That them sweat sounds. That sweat.
After a long break over the holidays, Raven Software are finally back to working on Warzone again. One of the first tweets they made in the last few days was about the double-barrel Akimbo shotguns. They said they were aware of the concerns regarding the Akimbo double-barrel shotgun. An adjustment is coming in the near future. Stay tuned. This was tweeted on the 5th, and a day later on the 6th, we got a small hotfix that went live. Not really anything was super noticeable, but then I found this. Apparently, Akimbo on the double-barrel shotgun now actually reduces damage, or at least it says it does in the menus. Many of you were probably happy, some sad, but yes, the double barrel was in fact nerfed. But not as bad as you might think. So today, we're going to go over what's changed, is it still good, and what I think the class should be that you use. First things first, the double barrel as a whole. I went in and checked out the gun, and it was still as crappy as it was, the base gun at least, and yes, nothing changed there. In fact, to keep it short and sweet, nothing really changed about the gun at all from what I could tell, except for the Akimbo perk. The sawed-off barrel still has ridiculous 2-tap range, so that's cool. I really enjoy a build with just a single one of those. But let's look at Akimbo, since that's what's really screwing people over. Before this nerf, there was no damage reduction. One shot from one of the double barrel shotguns with buck and slug equipped would basically deal tons of damage, especially if you hit the head. The torso, you deal the same damage as the base sawed off, so roughly 155-ish damage, but headshots, if that slug hit the head at least, would almost take your whole 250 health. I mean, it was just a sliver of your health left. With the insane range it had, this thing was 2-tapping people at distances it shouldn't have been, mainly because of that slug. You would have people who get lucky and those slugs hit the head and just bam, they're gone. And you only needed one of the 2 slugs to hit the head, and then as long as one pellet connected from the other gun basically, they were screwed. Now, post-nerf, headshots with this setup deal roughly 180 damage or so, and torso shots deal roughly 140, so it's not enough to break 3 plates. And again, that's just kind of from eyeballing the damage bars and the health. This means you can still 2-tap, or 1-tap I guess, basically one shot from each shotgun, but the range isn't nearly as strong. When I was testing, it seemed like I could only really ever get that 2-tap up to around 3 meters or so, which is much weaker than it was. After that, generally, it's going to take 3 to 4 shots to get a kill in total. And as a word of warning, testing shotguns, especially Akimbo shotguns, is really hard to get consistent. You just have no way to accurately check ranges and get your pellets to connect at range, so it's a bit tough. I noticed at times it was a 3-shot if one of those slugs hit the head outside of 3 meters, and then sometimes it was a 4-shot. So to keep it simple, expect it to either 1-tap in 3 meters or just use all 4 of your shots, because why would you just use 3? It doesn't really make sense. And up to around 12 meters, I was still able to unload those 4 shots at once and get a kill. And that's if I was kind of aiming at someone who wasn't moving and I was aiming center mass and maybe one of the slugs hit the head, it would usually be around 3 to 4 shots. Past 12 meters, it seemed like there was definitely a steeper drop off and it wouldn't kill or do nearly as much damage. But again, it's kind of hard to test it efficiently. But just know that past that 10 to 12 meter range, you're really not going to be getting any 2-tap kills with this thing. So if you're within that 10 meters, unload those 4 shots and you're still pretty much going to get a kill. Overall, it did get hit and decently enough, but do I think it was enough? To be honest, I'm going to keep it real with you guys. I'm going to get some hate for this, but no, I really don't think it got hit hard enough, and I know that's kind of blasphemy as a guy who likes shotguns, but currently, this shotgun setup with Akimbo, buck and slug, and the sawed-off barrel puts a lot of the other shotguns to shame. I'm okay with the damage, but having a really fast ability to shoot 4 times in a row so fast and just delete people immediately out to that kind of range, and pretty consistently, honestly, makes the other shotguns just kind of ridiculously annoying to use against the double barrel shotguns. And again, the reload speed is fast still. It's still faster than a single double barrel. The movement is fast, and it's just a tad bit too strong still, in my opinion, at least when we talk about with the other shotguns. I feel bad for a new Warzone player who wants to use the Model 680 and runs into this bad boy. I mean, Jesus. But in my opinion, yes, having to 4-tap now is more balanced than before, but it's really hard not to find cover and reload quick, again, considering how fast the reload is. I would rather they cut that drop off down to maybe around 6 or 7 meters, because it's basically a one-shot kill with how fast you can delete people with those 4 quick shots, and to have a shotgun that can do that is actually really strong. I mean, no other shotgun can really kill that quick. Maybe the Iron Horn with its 2 shots, but this is basically like a one and done type of shotgun. It really is. It's 4 quick shots very, very fast, and then you have to reload. It's basically like a really strong pump action. As for how I think you should kit this out, well, it's pretty much the same as it was. Whatever class you were using is probably going to work. But because some people may have been using it wrong, I'm going to kind of show you what I've been using. So of course you want to use the full choke and the sawed-off barrel. That's important for damage, or at least just the sawed-off is important for damage. The full choke is really going to help tighten that hipfire spread. The remove stock for movement speed and hipfire accuracy and sprint to fire speed as well. Fabric grip is going to help with the hipfire accuracy again and sprint to fire speed. Akimbo and quick are my perks. Buck and slug, but then you'll notice I have no magazine equipped. I've seen a lot of people run the double aught or the 16 gauge. 16 gauge don't ever really run. It actually reduces your damage and you will not two-shot kill anymore. It's kind of annoying. I don't know why they do that. I think it's something that needs to be balanced. And then the double aught just didn't really do anything. But if you're using buck and slug, it's going to take 2 more pellets away. So it's going to be a little more inconsistent and not quite as good. You really want to keep that pellet count up to 4 at least. Otherwise, it's just going to be very inconsistent. So I would say don't run a magazine. As for optics, you can. I know some people run the scopes because they're funny, but they actually do help with the recoil control. Accuracy doesn't mean anything because it's really only going to affect you if you're aiming down sights. So really, you don't need an optic. So if you're worried these things are useless now, no, they're still really, really good. They're still a god tier shotgun, and in my opinion, these are still probably the best shotgun in the game so far. It's tough to say between this and the Ironhorn revolving shotgun, which, if you were curious, it did not get nerfed. You can still 2-tap with that thing at ridiculous ranges, so go use that if you haven't. But this thing is still ridiculously strong. It's a little bit more high risk, high reward now, but I still think that that range needs to be cut down just a tad bit more. Not a whole lot, but just a little bit more. We're talking maybe another 4 or 5 meters or something like that. To be honest, I feel like this update was a little bit more of a tease than anything because I feel like they're going to do a bigger update coming soon with the Season 1 Reloaded update. And they're probably going to tune these shotguns, especially this one. This was just sort of a primer to get the community off their back. And look, we're doing something, which they did do something. It is weaker, but it's still not enough in my opinion. But again, that's just my opinion. So I want to know what you guys think of this nerf. Was it enough? Was it not enough? What do you think of my class? What class have you guys been using? And with all that being said, I will see you guys in the next video.